Welcome to the Blender Goon. In this video, we're going to do some instancing to make this chain and these decorations around this cushion here. So to get started, I went ahead and made a couple objects here that we're going to do some instancing on. I've got a door here, and I've made my parts. I'm going to make this button go around the inside of this edge, and I've got a chain link under there that we're going to make go around the handles of our door. So let me go ahead and hide this chair stuff. We don't need it for now. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and get our 3D cursor over to our door. I have my point of origin set at the center here. If you want to set your point of origin to center your object, you can like click your handles or whatever and right click set origin to geometry, and that'll put your point of origin in the center. Then we can hit Shift S and cursor to selected, and that'll move it there. Then we can go ahead and create our Bezier curve to make our chain follow. So Bezier curve, and it comes in back there, and I'm going to do an SY0 to flatten it out, and GY move it forward, and one on number pad to go into front view, and tab to go into edit mode. And we're going to scale this guy down and scale this guy down because they're way too big. And then we're going to move it over here, move this one over here. Then we can extrude off of there, come down here and rotate it. Yeah, probably like that. Extrude it again, move it over here. Same with this one, extrude him, rotate him, and extrude him again. And just put him about right there. And we can rotate him that way a little bit. And now we've got a semblance of a chain. We can move these and line up a little bit better, but we're not worried about that right now. The next step is go ahead and hit tab to go back into object mode. And our point of origin is up here where the 3D cursor is. I'm going to reset my 3D cursor by hitting Shift C. And that resets the 3D cursor of this. Or it doesn't. Yeah, it resets the 3D cursor, but the point of origin is still there. So I'm going to do Q, all transforms. Or if you don't have it set to your favorites, you can go to Object, Apply, All Transforms. And that resets our point of origin to the world origin. Next, I have my little chain here, and my chain's not going to be the right size because I made it before I made the door. So I'm going to hit one on number pad, G, and move my chain over there. Zoom in on it, and we're just going to scale it down to fit. I'm going to rotate it on the X by 90, and I'm actually going to move it forward too, just to be able to see it better. And scale it down to the size you think you're going to need it. I think that's probably going to look pretty good. Once you're done, the point of origin should be in the center of your object if you build it properly. If not, make sure you right click and set origin to geometry so it's in the center. And then I'm going to hit Alt G, which is going to put it back at the world origin. So Alt G, and it jumps over there. And then I'm going to do an Alt R, which resets the rotation because I want it oriented like that. Now we can apply all transforms because the scale is not correct, and you can check it over here. The scale is not correct, so Q, and I'm going to do all transforms again. Like I said, that's up here, Object, Apply, all transforms. Now we need a plane to instance this thing too, so Shift A, Mesh, Plane, and it's real big. So we're just going to scale it down and get it the same size as our, or close to it. Probably about there is fine. And I'm going to scale it on the Y also just because uniform, and apply the transforms again. So now the point of origin of my plane is in the center, the point of origin of my chain link is in the center, and the point of origin of my curve is in the center. And these things are very important because otherwise it will break and not work right. Now we can go ahead and parent these. So we select our chain link, shift select our plane, control P by object. And then we can, while they're both selected, we can go ahead and hit GX and move it over. And we're going to put the edge of the chain right at the world origin and make sure that our point of origins moved with the chain and the link, the plane and the link rather. Now we need an empty, so Shift A, go to empty, and we're just going to use a plane axis, and we're going to leave it there. That's going to be fine. Now that all that's done and all our point of origins are correct and everything, we can go ahead and apply our modifiers now. So select the plane, go to modifiers, and we're going to add an array, and we're going to add a curve. Now that we have our two modifiers, we can go ahead and turn on the instancing. And to find the instancing, you hit this little orange square, which is the object properties. And if you scroll down here, there's a instancing. Just click it and go to faces and turn on instancing, and you'll see that your chain and second plane appear. Now what I like to do is go back to modifiers and go ahead and increase my count a little bit because we're about to break this. So if you take this fit type, actually we don't want to do fit type yet. Go to object offset and check that, and then we're going to take our picker here and go ahead and select our empty, and that breaks everything. So now we can do the factor and change it to line up our chain links the way we want them. So I'm just kind of looking at my gap here and seeing how much a gap I want. And we can also take the empty and rotate it on the X and twist our chain up. So now our chain's all twisted up. Now we can go back to our modifiers. So select the plane, back to our modifiers. Instead of fit type being set to, that's in my way, being set to fixed count, we want to change it to fit curve, which stuffs it back inside itself. But now we can go to our door here. Actually, that's way out front, but that's okay. And we're going to, the fit curve is going to be this curve. So we can select it, and that makes it the length that it's supposed to be. And then if we go here to our curve object and select our curve again, it puts it on there, period on number pad, and now you can see it follows the way it's supposed to. We can select the curve. If we go up here and find our Bezier curve and actually move it back to the door, things are going to break. That's all right, I'm moving it anyhow. Move the curve back to the door, and then apply the transforms of the curve again, and that'll fix the broken stuff. Then we can go ahead in edit mode and adjust this curve to actually fit the way it's supposed to, and it won't break if it's in edit mode. I should have moved it in edit mode, but I moved it in object mode. And you just move these curves around until you like how the chain looks. And if you extrude on this chain, it'll just add more chain links, and you can do whatever you want with it. It's pretty nice. To hide these planes, you can go back to the object properties, go into object mode first, select your plane again, then go here. And under instancing, you could turn off viewport. If you need to select your chain again, it's going to be up here. Let's see. There's that plane. So under plane, you can select plane here, and you can also select the link here. And the link that you're selecting here is actually the link over here, and you won't need it later. So just a quick recap. If you have your planes hidden, you can't select them. So you can go over here and actually select the plane. So I'm going to select the plane there, and then I can go back into my object properties and turn the viewport on and actually see the plane again, because if you select the chain link and you probably can't find it. Also to recap, if you have your curve selected and you want to move it in edit mode so it doesn't break. See, I can move it around in edit mode and it won't break. But if I go into object mode and I move it around, then it breaks. Then you have to apply your transforms again to get it fixed. So if you're in edit mode, it won't break. If you're in object mode, it will. And that's because object mode changes the point of origin location, and edit mode does not. So now we have our chain all done, but we can't bring it into Second Life like this because there's modifiers and all kind of stuff on it that's just going to break everything. So if we select our object here, before you do all this, you want to go to your actual link. So click this one and hit create on number pad, and you want to unwrap this guy because if it's not unwrapped yet, you'll have to unwrap every single link individually. But if you unwrap this one, then you won't have no problems. I can go ahead and show you that since it's so simple. So I'm just going to select that loop and right click mark seams. You can hit M to mark seams. So right click mark seams, and I'm just going to select this one. Right click M to mark seams and A U unwrap. You don't technically have to unwrap it, but there's the chain link. And oops, now that's unwrapped. So once we apply everything, they'll all be unwrapped. So let's go back to our plane and hit create on number pad to go back look at it. Now we can apply all these modifiers. So I'm going to apply the array and apply the curve. So now I'm going to select my plane, and we're going to go to Object, Apply, Make Instances Real. And that sets every one of these chains to individual objects. So now we can select one chain link, doesn't matter which one, and hit Control J to join them all together. Then we can select our planes and just delete them. And now it's ready to go into Second Life, and you can also delete your curve if you want to. And you're just left with your chain. Then you can go into edit mode, hit A, U, and unwrap, and then all your chain links are unwrapped in nice uniform order. Otherwise, you'll have to go through each one of these and mark your seams individually. But since we did one, they all became marked. So that's it for the door. We're going to go ahead and hide our door. And I've got this chair cushion over here that I built. And we're pretty much going to do the same thing with that. So I went ahead and I took this and let me apply this subdivision surface. Yep. Now if I select my curve here, I basically took one of the edge loops of this. So I just grabbed an edge loop and I copied it. So you just Shift D to copy it. And then you hit P for selection. And then you have a curve following a path that you want to follow instead of building your own Bezier curve. So once that's done, you can go to Object, Convert to Curve, and now it's a curve. And that's what we need for our modifiers. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that one because I already got one. And we need our object over here. Oh, and don't forget, when you make your curve, to apply the transforms to make sure the point of origin is at the world origin where it needs to be. Then I made this little button thing. I need to see that it's the right size, so I'm just going to make sure the all transforms are set because we need our point of origin to be the center of it. And then I'm going to go ahead and move it over here. And I've actually got the point of origin at the bottom of it. So pay attention to that. And I'll move it forward a little bit. Scale it down to the size I need it. That ought to do. Then I'm going to do Alt-G to send it back to the world origin. And Alt-R if you rotated it. And then I'm going to apply all the transforms again to make sure the scale and everything is set to 1. And now we can add our modifiers. So we need the same modifiers. We need an array. And we need a curve. And we already know we have our curve and stuff done. I'm not going to bother with an empty on this one. I'm just going to change it to fit curve. We also need our plane though, so let's go ahead and make our plane. And I actually added these to the wrong object. Don't do that. Kill that and kill that. And scale our plane down. About right there. Select the object and then the plane. Control P with object. Select your plane. Then add your modifiers, which is the array and the curve. And then I can do, instead of fixed count, I can do fit curve. And the curve is going to be the arm curve. And we need to do our instancing. So select the instancing and go to faces. And now we have a problem. And the problem is I did not apply the transforms of my plane. So I'm just going to hit Q, all transforms, and that's going to make it the size I need it to be. The rotation is wrong, but we can fix that with the curve itself. So if you select your curve, it's hard to select, and go into edit mode and hit A, you can hit Control T, and you can actually rotate this. It's not wanting to rotate very well. It is rotating. It's just hard to control from such a distance. But it's Control T, and it's, you move up and down. And I'm going to rotate it probably about like that. Go back to my modifiers, select my plane, and I need to select my curve. So I'm just going to select this here and go to arm curve and select it, and that runs them all the way around it. Then I can back my factor up or forward to get it how I want it. And I think that looks fine. Those all look good. So we can apply our modifiers. So, don't forget to unwrap it if you have some kind of extra stuff. This is pretty flat, so I don't really need to unwrap it. There's no seams to be marked. So apply the array, apply the curve, select the plane, make sure you have your make instances real done. Then we can select one of them, Control J to join them all together. We can select that plane and delete it now. And we can select our arm curve and delete it. And there you go. We've got some nice buttons all around our cushion. So there we have our cushion with our buttons and our door with our chain. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon for more content, and I will see you guys in the next one.